Good morning, everybody. It's Troy here. And let me get this camera situated, and then we're going to start live broadcast is up. And I hope you're feeling great today. Hope you had a great week and you're having a great day and everything's going awesome for you. And you're looking forward to the successes that you're creating so far. And so today I got a couple thoughts to share with you today. I was talking with my mastermind group this week. We meet on a weekly basis. I highly recommend, if you don't have a mastermind group, you got to get one put together. I learned so much. I get so much value out of mine. But I was chatting with my mastermind group, and I said I'm going to do another Periscope this week and ask them for some suggestions on topics. And my buddy Ron says, Troy, I love it when you talk about the law of tolerance. And that, more importantly, is kind of what I call the lowering the bar is really the topic that I want to talk about. But if you are in business, if you want to be in business, if you are, even if you're a seasoned veteran in business, this is a relevant topic because it is the one thing we just can't ignore. It doesn't go away, and there's always room to improve on this particular topic and conversation. And more importantly, if you are having a challenge, if you're having any sort of challenge whatsoever, really in your life, but I'm a business coach, so I focus on the business stuff. So if you're having any sort of challenge in your business, when I start talking about lowering the bar, this is typically at the root of that challenge. So if for some reason you're feeling stressed or burnout or unhappy or anything but just awesome about everything that's going on, I'm going to share with you exactly what you can do to focus your attention and to make sure that you're not wasting your time. So here's the first thing that I've got. First idea that I have for you. Think about what is your biggest challenge. What's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? What's the one thing that if you were to solve this one problem would make the other problems in your life, the other challenges that you're facing completely disappear? All right. For most of us, we know what that is. It's something we've been working on for a while. It's something that is probably keeping you up at night. It's probably the thing that is rattling around in the back of your head, and you're probably trying to figure it out day in and day out. And so the question is, what is that biggest challenge that you're facing? If it's in your business, a lot of times it's around generating cash flow. Maybe you're riding the up and down cash flow roller coaster, or maybe it's around finding good people. I spend a lot of time talking to business owners about finding good people, getting those people to be integrated into the business so that they're performing and thinking and acting and working like adults as opposed to like children. And that's always a huge topic. Whatever it is that you're working on, maybe it's your productivity, maybe it's your time management. I want you to identify what that big challenge is. And the next part of this question is, how long have you been working on that challenge? How long have you been dealing with it? How long have you been trying to find a solution to it? How long have you been, has it been a week? Has it been a month? Has it been years or many years? I was chatting with a group a couple of weeks ago, and one of the gals that I was speaking with said that she'd been working on the same problem, the same challenge for about 13 years. 13 years, a long time. Long time to be working on that one thing, to be dragging that one thing around. Now, she's a smart person. She's got a pretty good business, and I know it's a big challenge for her. But this was an interesting thing that happened, right? So, I offered to help out and said, I deal with people every day and help them solve these problems and solve their biggest challenges and make sure they get to move through their challenges. Ultimately, I want you to have a new challenge each, probably every 90 days. Okay. And so I offered to help out, and she said, yeah, and we're probably going to connect up. And she says, well, I have a few things I need to do first, and then I can get to this and get you on board and have you help. And the first thought that came into my head was, wow, this is the biggest challenge that you're facing. You've been dealing with it for over a dozen years. Somebody comes along who's going to help you solve it and make sure you get through it so you have a new challenge in the next 90 to 180 days. And the first thought is, yeah, I need to put that off. Okay, that is such a normal thing to say, a normal thing to do. It's not a bad thing. Like I said, she's a smart person. She's got a pretty good business. But And I have to give her credit. I'm sure she is working on, I'm sure a lot of the stuff that she's doing is trying to get her there, but there's something else that's happening. And I'm going to share that with you in just a second. So the first question that I have is, What is your biggest challenge? Your second question, how long have you been working on that challenge? And it's important to identify how long it is because that brings some reality to what's going on. And the third question is, why don't you have a solution already? Why don't you have a solution already? Okay, now I'm going to say write down your answer just to make sure that you're clear with it. Okay, why don't you have a solution to this challenge already? Write it down, or in other words, you might want to identify what is your story or what is your excuse about why you keep having this, because it's there. You've got a problem. It's your biggest problem. It's your biggest challenge. You're working on it every day. It wakes you up at night. It keeps you up. It keeps you going. It's something that's always rattling around in the back of your head. And so I know you've got some sort of story around it. I also want you to keep in mind that there are no new fundamental problems in business. So whatever you're dealing with, whatever's going on, I'm sure somebody somewhere has already dealt with it. Okay, and so I want you to think about that for a second. That you're dealing with a problem, it's your big challenge, you've been dragging it around for a while, and there are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have already gone through what you've gone through, or what you're going through. Okay, there's solutions, there's strategies, there's tactics, there's coaches. I mean, you can just Google it and you can find hundreds of thousands of pages and websites that probably are offering solutions to what you're dealing with. There really are no new problems lately in business. So the question is, why are you still trying to figure it out? Why are you still struggling with this? And I'm going to go ahead and tell you the answer. Okay, you've got your story, but I'm going to tell you why. This comes from years of experience and one of the first and most simple things that I figured out. It's because of the law of tolerance. Yep, there is this thing, it's called the law of tolerance. I think I dubbed it a law. There's a concept around tolerance. What are you tolerating? And I dubbed it a law because I think it's that important. And I think we need to treat it as such. And here's what the law of tolerance says. It says what you're willing to put up with is exactly what you're going to get and nothing more. Right? So whatever you're willing to put up with, whatever you're willing to tolerate, whatever you're willing to settle for is what you're going to get. You're not going to get more than that because you're willing to take less. Right? So if you've got a problem that you've been dragging around, a challenge in your business, like I said, maybe it's something like I've got a revolving door. I can't keep good people, or I can't find good people, or I'm riding that up and down roller coaster. I'm telling you, the reason why you're doing that is because you're tolerating it. You're tolerating not having enough money. You're tolerating not having enough clients, not having the right people as clients, not having the level of productivity, having annoying clients that you have to deal with on a regular basis. I know, trust me, I've had countless hours worth of coaching for myself on these exact topics. I asked my coach years and years and years ago, I said, how come, what do you do, is specifically what I asked him. I said, what do you do when you've got people that schedule meetings with you and then repeatedly cancel? And he said, okay, why? And I said, well, I've had a number of meetings this week that I scheduled and then they canceled or they didn't show up. And I said, what did you do when you were going through that phase in your business? Because I was young and I was just kind of starting off and I figured this was a phase. And he says, yeah, I don't remember ever having that experience. Like, what do you mean you've never had that experience? Isn't this a phase everybody goes through? He goes, no, not really. Never really had that experience. I thought, well, how come I'm having it and not everybody has gone through it? And he's like, I don't know. It might be something you're doing. And then we had a conversation about what I was tolerating, how I had a high level, had a high bar of tolerance for people that wouldn't confirm their meetings, that wouldn't show up. And it really came down to how I was showing up for those meetings. And I completely changed my strategy. Now I follow up with every person that I schedule with. I make sure that and I've been doing this for 15 years now, making sure that I confirm the meetings, that we know where we're going, that I've got a good reason, and I know that they're the people that want to meet with me. And now I don't have people that don't show up anymore. That just completely went away. But I had to lower the bar. I had to go to work on it. The more that you tolerate, the more then that you have to manage. So if you happen to be feeling overwhelmed in your business, if you've got a lot on your plate, if you're struggling to keep up and you're struggling to get everything done every day, this is why. It's because you've got too high of a level of tolerance. I even had a client number of years ago that was very proud. He was very excited. He said, Troy, I can pride myself on the fact that I can handle a lot. I really have a high threshold for tolerance, which means I can deal with a lot of stuff. Well, guess what he got to deal with? He got to deal with a lot of stuff. And so we took some time. I completely flipped his mindset around on this, and we got him to a point where he no longer had a lot of stuff to deal with anymore. Right, so if you have a lot of stuff, a lot of crap going on in your business that you're dealing with, I got to tell you right now, what I want you to do is lower the bar. Right, we've got to lower that level of tolerance and what you're willing to put up with, because the more you're willing to put up with it, the more crap you have to deal with. I remember back when I was in college, I had my car, my truck that I bought when I was 15 years old. It was my favorite truck, and I was really excited to get it. And I took it to college with me. And somewhere around the second year in college, my starter went out in this truck. It was a pickup truck. It was a Toyota pickup truck, and it was a manual transmission. And the starter went out. And so I remember I spent an entire month. It was at least a month, probably 4 weeks, without a starter in my truck. So anytime I went somewhere, I literally had to push start it. So I would have to get out and I would have to push my truck and then jump in it and then pump the clutch to get it started. And it was kind of funny, but you think about all the things I had to manage in order to make this work. Okay, I had to have jumper cables with me all the time because I didn't always get it started. And I had to try to park on a hill no matter where I was. And sometimes that was a lot more difficult than you think. So I would have to park like blocks away on this hill so that I knew when I came back out to my car, I could get it rolling. I had to make sure that I didn't have anyone in front of me or behind me when they parked. I mean, there was all kinds of things I had to manage in order to make sure that I got my truck started so I could get somewhere. So when you've got something that you're tolerating, like a broken starter, you have to manage the crap out of it. It takes a lot of work to manage something that you're tolerating. So if you can find a way to tolerate less, if you can find a way to work through those and lower that bar, you're going to have less that you have to put up with. You're going to have less that you have to deal with. And when you have less to deal with, you've got more space in your brain, more memory space that you can deal with the things that are really important, the really crucial decisions to make. Okay, so I'll give you a couple steps, and then if you want some extra help on it, of course you can reach out to me. I'm happy to help. It's one of those things that once we figure out how to lower the bar and that you get the concept and you really start working on it, life gets easier and the business starts moving just at a whole nother level. I promise you will feel like the weight of the world is coming off of your shoulders. And some things are going to be really easy. So just a strategy of this, when you're dealing with lowering the bar, one of the things you want to do is start with the easy stuff first. So if you can clear some stuff off of your plate that's easy stuff, it will give you the energy to handle the bigger stuff. Okay, so there's a couple rules to this. If you're going to eliminate something that you've been dragging around that's incomplete, here's one of the rules. The rule is you have to eliminate it forever. You can't just do it once. You have to do it forever. It's got to be gone. Okay, here's a good example. So, I don't know if it's a good example, but it is an example that I have. I remember growing up, I never used to make my bed. It was something my mom always wanted me to do, and I think she gave up at some point because I never did it. I was always under the philosophy that I'm just going to get into it later, so why would I have to make it just to unmake it? It's kind of like taking off your shoes and tying them, right? And then leaving them in your closet tied. Then you have to untie them to put them on. Anyway, so I never made my bed. Well, when I was starting my business, my coaching business, I had my desk, and then right next to my desk, right here to my left, was my bed. And that was actually a part of my workspace because my desk was kind of small. And so I would use my bed to put my binders on or my books or whatever it is that I was working on. And so if my bed wasn't made, I didn't get to use that. That was a space that was invaluable. So then I would have to be like, crap, okay, I got to make my bed. And that was kind of stressful. So just waking up and making my bed once a week didn't really work for me because I needed that space. So I had to create a system, and I got coached on how to do this, but I had to create a process, like a little routine, so that my bed was always made. And so I created a habit where I would get up in the morning. The first thing I'd always do is go take a shower. So I'd go turn on the water to let the water start heating up, take a shower. And while it was heating up, I would go make my bed. And that would help me because as long as I took a shower in the morning, I would then my bed would be made. So you could always tell, you could walk in my room, if my bed's made, I took a shower that day. But it was just a little system for me that made sure that it happened. Because I couldn't just say, all right, this making my bed is a toleration and do it once or twice a week and have it be eliminated forever. I had to create a process that fit into my regular routine so it would just happen to me automatically. Kind of like your, automatic sprinkler system just pops on and waters your yard. Okay, so that's one of the rules. If you're going to solve a toleration, if you're going to lower the bar and you've got an element in your life that needs to be fixed, you've got to create the system so that it's handled forever. And I talk to my clients about this all the time, about building systems. If you're going to do it once, build a system for it so that it's processed and it's done forever. Now, that takes a little bit of extra work, okay? But if you're building your business such that you've got systems that every time you do something, you build a process for it such that you could take that process and you could give it to somebody brand new. Okay, you could give it to me if I walked in your business. You go, here's how we do this, and then I could get the gist of it right away. If you take that little extra time to do that, and that would eliminate a toleration down the road. Okay, so building that system. So kind of the first step is you've got to decide to lower the bar. I would say the second step is you have to commit. Okay, you have to commit to making sure that you tolerate less. Whatever that is, if you've got employees showing up late. I even had a client a number of years ago that was having a problem because they did printing and they would get a lot of returns because the mistakes were made. And some of the thought process on that was, well, we're going to have mistakes. That's just something that happens. Yeah, it is something that happens, but if you've got a high level of tolerance, it happens a lot more. So we literally, and we didn't necessarily talk about, oh, you're tolerating this. We just said, look, we need to create a process so that you have zero mistakes, zero defects, zero returns. And he's like, God, is that possible? I said, yeah, it's possible. Right? But we have to go to work on figuring out how. And it did. It was a project. He took it on, and I don't know if he hit there perfectly. So I don't know if he hit that perfectly in terms of zero defects ever, but I know that he had a brand new system, and that system helped him have a whole lot less problems. He reduced it dramatically. So you have to commit to finding that solution. You have to commit to lowering that bar. So that's kind of first step is lower the bar. Second step is really commit to it and decide that that's going to be the way that you're just not going to tolerate it anymore. I would say the third step then is to understand the rules of the game, which is if you're going to solve that toleration, if you're going to reduce that bar, you've got to do it forever. You can't ever come back. It's got to be a system and a process so that whatever that thing is that you're dealing with, making your bed, hiring staff, filing papers, doing your taxes, getting your oil changed, whatever that is, it's got to be gone forever. And I would say the third step or the fourth step on that is to get expert help. Okay, yeah, this might be a little toot for me, a little plug for the business coaches, the experts in your life. You've got to get extra help, okay? If you're dragging around something, and I asked you at the beginning, what's your biggest challenge? How long have you been dealing with it? If you've been dragging this around for any length of time, I am quite certain it's not because you haven't been thinking about it, and it's not because you haven't tried to fix it, okay? If this is your biggest challenge in your business, I'm pretty sure you've thought about it, and it's time to face the music. It's out of your hands, okay? It's bigger than you are. Get help. It is not a bad idea to enlist help of experts, okay? For 16 years, I've been dealing with people. I've probably gone through the same problem you're dealing with 6 times this week already, if not more, okay? That's what happens when you deal with experts. So my fourth suggestion for you is get the expert help. Get it now. There is a reason why the most successful people in the world have right-hand people that are right next to them, helping them out. There's a reason why successful people have mastermind groups, they have peer support groups, they have coaches, they have mentors, they have assistants that are right next to them, they have financial planners, they have lawyers, they have CPAs. They have those people that are experts that help them to move through problems fast. My challenge to you, 2 things. Number 1, lower the bar. Whatever it is that you're putting up with, whatever it is that you're handling, trying to deal with on a regular basis. I want you to lower the bar. And the second thing that is my challenge to you is to get that extra help. Oh, and I've got a third one. Okay, lower the bar, get that extra help. And your third one is to not be facing this same challenge 90 days from now. That's it, 90 days from now. So that would be, let's say we're in March, April, May, June. So let's say by July 1st, you have to have a new biggest challenge in your life. That's your coach's challenge. So with that, hopefully you found some nuggets in there that are helpful and you can put that to use for you. Lower the bar, get some help, and make sure you've got brand new challenges come July 1st of this year. And I'm here to help. You can reach me at info@evocexcellence.com. Shoot me an email. Let me know what you liked about this little Periscope here. And if you've got a particular toleration that you're working on, if you want some help on it to grow your business, make sure you're able to make a whole lot more money this year. I'm here to help. So I'll talk to you soon. And remember, lower that bar.